So, really the goal of this community call is number one, to be able to um really get an insight on like what you've done. Obviously, like you're seeing a lot of success, which is awesome. And so, brand new agent. And so just really talking about diving deeper into your story, but then also really just like tactical for newer agents that came on board or want to really have a really good jump start, not only in the community, but also more importantly, just in the industry in general. So I want to start off, dude. What were you like? What made you jump into the industry?
So I was in the industry prior to this, way back in like 2009, 10. I was with, this is on YouTube, but I was with Primerica. Mhm.
Boo.
Um, yeah. So I was probably in it for maybe 6 months. I'm like, bro, this isn't for me. It's like, hey, recruit your family. Hey, recruit your sister, your friends. And it's just like, what?
Yep.
Term, invest the difference. And what's actually kind of funny, my sister, who I'm trying to get on board with
Recruit.
doing what I'm doing, recruit, right? While trying to, because she just unfortunately got let go from her banking job. But anyway, she was like, "Well, my friend got me into Primerica, and she wanted to be her test like client or customer." Anyways, they did not change one thing of the Primerica from 2009, which is insane to me. It's the same spiel. I was like, "This is unbelievable." I heard this thing, the same crap. But
Was that
anyways, that was what I was
recent?
doing prior. That was literally like 3 or 4 weeks ago.
Okay.
But anyways, yeah. So it's same spiel that they've done over a decade ago, which is insane to me. So I recently got back into it literally earlier this year. My friend wanted me to help him. He has started his own brokerage.
Another practice agent
And he wanted,
presentation, right? Just kidding.
yeah, pretty much. And so I was like, yeah, I was like, I'll get back into it because before then it was like doing paper stuff. I was like, okay, I didn't know it changed. Obviously it changed dramatically from going from in person doing paper to I guess post COVID to doing the digital stuff.
Yeah.
And so I was like, oh wow, this is actually way better. And but still didn't really have much of experience in like working the phones, doing leads and things like that. My friend is very smart, but he's not a good teacher or leader. Like
Yeah.
he's on the spectrum, so he's almost like, well, do this. It makes sense to him. He's like, if I could do this, just watch this and do this, or watch me do it. And it's just like, yeah, I don't learn this way, you
Yeah.
know. So that was what I was doing. That's so I'm kind
Okay,
of
so you get
backtrack.
in. So let's just we don't need to go into like crazy detail on that end, but
Yeah.
I do want to know like, okay, you get into the industry. What were you doing in the time of like you being in the industry and then before joining the community?
So before joining the community, I was pretty much lost. Like I didn't even know how to really fill out like I didn't know how to fill out an application. Like I didn't even know how to start. Like my friend, I would watch and he would do all these presentations on paper, and it just wasn't clicking with me. And he's had me watch a couple of different videos, and it just nothing was sticking. Like I would do
Hmm.
calls. We were doing uh age veteran leads, and then also age more protection. And so it just wasn't, I just wasn't getting it. I couldn't do it. The script, he didn't really have a script. He just had me listen to him on how he did it. I was just trying to take notes, and it just wasn't working.
Yeah.
And
Okay,
so I
so
was like, I
yeah.
almost quit. And then saw your hamster face popped up on my timeline on Instagram. And I was like, okay. And I went to a rabbit hole that led me to like David Duford, which you're on one of his you're speaking on one of his YouTube videos at a conference or something. I was
Yeah.
like, oh man, and then just fell down a rabbit hole, and I was like, okay, so this guy can help me
Yeah.
like get this down and do it right because I'm not one of those that's gonna just outright quit. I was close, so I have my other business, so I don't really have to do this, and so yeah, so that's why I ended up hitting you up, and we had that
Yeah.
call back at the July,
Yeah, which is cool. And it's
yeah,
only been like 3 to 4 July, August,
August, September.
September,
It's been
October.
this so four. four months
November.
will be 4 months will be in 5 days since I joined the
Okay,
community.
cool. So yeah, 4 months and probably what, written over 100 grand?
Uh,
Close
yeah,
to it. Gotta be
yeah.
close to
So
it.
yeah, I think I'm over it actually. Let me pull up my numbers here. So August was a crazy one. When I wrote that was 48, about 48,000. October or September was 30,000. October was 32, and already this month I'm at 32. So yeah, 30, 60, 90, 120. Yeah, I'm almost at one, little over 160.
4 months
Insane.
in.
That,
Four
yeah,
months
which
in.
is
There you
looking in
go.
retrospect, which is insane to me.
Yeah, so
And I wouldn't have gotten that without your leadership with Max, Austin, Elijah,
yeah.
Christian, all you guys. So
Well,
it's
dude, I really want to, because everybody's like in the community already, right? But I really
mhm.
wanted to highlight your story because you like that's a really like I think that's a record, right? Like 160 grand in the first 4 months. I don't think anybody's hit that record yet. So I want to dive into like, okay, you literally never sold a policy before actually joining. You sell your first policy a few days in, and then it's just off to the races. Um, what what helped like lead into your success your first 30 days? Like, how'd you get a really fast jump start?
Going through school, getting hounded by Max on doing script calls on obviously the calls for role playing and all that stuff, and
Yeah.
going over objections. So it really, it's just like pounded against your head. Like you really got to know the script. Like you got to go to sleep knowing the script. And it's true. You can ask my wife. I literally was waking up like in the middle of the night dreaming, like, oh, okay, like having leads in my head and going over the script. It was, yeah. I was deep in the first 30 days like that, and obviously the
Good.
school has so much information that everyone should dive in as much as you can in each of the sections because
Yeah.
you know, if you don't, you're missing out on a lot of different stuff to help you improve on your sales, your tonality, all that.
Yeah, for sure. So you went you I remember like you definitely right after our onboarding call, dude, you were like off to the races. I remember like you sent the business tracker that night. You got into school, you were interacting in Slack, you were asking questions, you send your recording right away. And I think like there's something to be said about just being an action taker, right? Like I think it's imperfect action. Like, was there any fear that you had when you did join? Like, okay, this is a bigger investment into myself. I don't know if it was the biggest investment you've ever made, but like you make this investment and then you're like, dang, like I'm nervous or like what was your mindset then?
Oh yeah, I was nervous. I was like, I got to make this work because I just dished out this amount, which could have gone to something else. But I mean, I was like, the goal was like, if I can make my money back within the first month or even 2 months, I'll be stoked, you know,
Yeah.
and then come out ahead. And I did that after the first month, which was insane to me. So yeah, there was a little fear. I was like, I can't, I can't fail at this. Otherwise, I'm letting myself down and probably disappointing my wife a little bit. She's like, 7 grand could have gone to, that money could have gone to somewhere else. So I was
Yeah.
just like, all right.
Well, it's funny because I remember I was like, what are your let's map out your goals. What are your goals for the first 30 days, let's say? And you're like, if I could hit 5K in written business, like that would be a win
Yeah.
for me. And I was like,
Yeah.
I think we could do that.
Yeah. So I actually have my goals still written on my board. Actually, it's in front of me from when I started. My right now, Rena says sell three final expense in a week, make 36 to offset, you know, some of the payments, and then I, have my net, and then obviously, and then the next goal is to make 10K by second month, and then sell three final expense in a day, and then by months 3 and 4, make 15K, and
Nice.
I've out of those, which is
Yeah.
insane.
Yeah. That's dope, dude. So, um, what do you feel like is working really well for you, like in the last 4 months that you've joined? What are some things that like have been working really well, would you say, that other agents can replicate?
Um, Obviously, working on your personality. Definitely building rapport with the customers that you're dealing with, kind of really relate to them, get on their level, show some empathy, all that stuff. I feel like that's helped a lot. And a lot of them who are big in, like, I work with a lot with, like, in sports town, so we talk about sports a lot, which is fun, especially the older women. You'll be surprised. I was on the phone with the Eagles fan. We talked about the Eagles for at least the first 15, 20 minminutes.
Oh, is she
I don't
from
really care if
Philly?
they, yeah, like
Oh,
Pittsburgh, like Philly, Daytona Heights Park. I don't know. Anyway, she's in that area. She's an Eagles fan, so we just talked about that and how we both hated the Dallas Cowboys and all that. So, build a
yeah.
rapport with all that. I feel like it helps a lot. Also, just knowing the script, that helps obviously to kind of overcome any objections. Going through the objections script, having that up as well, I feel like has helped. And learning how to pivot quick on the move and not really fumbling over your words. Just something you just gotta practice.
What did you do to like really drill the script right away and like know and understand like the objections as well?
uh, by jumping on these calls with Max and you doing the role plays and going over objection calls. Max really drills it on a lot of the stuff, especially when you're when you're doing medical, when you get the objections, when you go to banking,
Yeah.
and he just drills it into you. I mean, it's he's tough on it, but it's tough love, and he's only want to make you better. He's not being a prick about it. He just wants you to succeed and make it happen for yourself because you can do it. It's just about the effort you want to
Hey,
do
what's
it.
going on?
Yeah. Um, I like that, dude. So you do this. We did an interview for like YouTube, right? This is just for you
Mhm.
guys. Like I want to do this live just for clients. And so what you're doing this part-time. So like talk through your
Yeah.
schedule. And so for somebody who's part-time, and then if you were full-time, what your schedule would look like, how you'd structure your days.
So typically, I run a therapy business. I have a therapy business with three employees and a chiro guy that works out of my office as well. So I dedicate the majority of my time there. So I do Tuesdays, Thursdays, Fridays, and some Saturdays in my office, and then the rest of the days, Mondays all day, Wednesdays all day, and Thursdays I try to do half a day, or at least a full day, depending on my schedule, how I planned it out. So I probably do about, I'll say 2.5 to 3 days a week dedicated to this.
Yeah.
So, and I go from 9 till 6 or 7, depending on how I'm feeling. So
Yeah. So you do that when you start your day, what are you doing? Like to walk us through a day in the life.
I get up at 5 a.m. Get up at 5 a.m. Take all my supplements, head to the gym, get a workout in from six
Fasted,
till
baby.
seven. Right, 6 till 7. Go to Starbucks, pick up my wife coffee. I'm not a coffee drinker, so pick up her coffee, but I do get the egg white bites. Fantastic. Um,
Really? Are the macros okay on
and
that?
yeah. They're like the egg white bites are like 260, 270 on the calories there. I mean, I'm not sure the macro breakdown, but they're relatively healthy, if you will. So,
Which
and
ones do you
I go
get? The
home.
bacon ones or the egg whites?
I get the egg white ones. Bacon ones are, if I'm like, I'm feeling some bacon today, I'll do that.
Yeah.
Nothing
Okay.
wrong with like bacon, eggs, and like steak. So, and then
There
I
you go.
come home, I'll do my like post workout, do my post workout cardio, and then I walk my dogs, all four of them, get my steps in, get some sun on the face, shower, and start my day around 8:30, 9 o'clock.
Cool. All right. So talk us. Okay. So that's your morning stuff. Talk us through your,
Yeah,
and I think like I think there's something to be said about like if you really get your body right, it's easier to get like everything else in check, right? Because at the end of the day, like
100%.
discipline's a skill. And so
Hmm.
if you have discipline and you have it in one area, you can hone that into other areas of life as well. So you obviously are
Absolutely.
jacked, you're a bodybuilder. So
That
yeah.
I feel like majority. So I have a lot of friends that work for the health insurance side, and they're all in the gym, former bodybuilders, and it just replicates into that. It's just like it's the discipline of getting your work done and staying. on task with everything. It's just like how you eat your meals. It's always like, I'm going to stay at here, knock out these leads, and just keep going.
Yeah,
And so I feel like it definitely bleeds over to this type of work from from that standpoint of
for sure.
bodybuilding or
Yeah. So you get up, so you start working 8:30, 9 o'clock. What are you like? Talk us through 9 to 6. What are you doing?
so 9 to 6. I'm start dialing the leads for the East Coast, and then when it's because I'm kind of like I don't want to call anybody like too early, so I started the East Coast leads. I kind of split it up. I saw Max do it with his, like how he split some of his from East Coast to Central to West. So I kind of started doing that and kind of working my way down. So that's kind of how I start my leads, dialing each number about 3 times. Probably I dial them probably all the numbers depending on all the diets 6 to 9 times in the day until and hopefully I get an answer. If not, just move on and pivot and just keep dialing. And here lately, I've been getting some good contacts, which actually I paused my leads for a minute and
Yeah,
still working those. I think I've
talk
over
us through the,
yeah.
like how you got on this huge referral train, dude, because you are absolutely
All right.
crushing right now with referrals.
So referrals have been so networking's been a huge thing for me here lately. So obviously in my practice, I just talk to all my clients and be like, hey, yeah, I do this, this, and this, and like, oh wow, that's really interesting. I think I'll be interested in that, getting like a term or whole life, or maybe even looking at my parents for final expense and or mortgage protection or whatever. So, and they kind of just it kind of snowballed into that. And my wife's childhood best friend, like I told you, she works for SkyMed, which is like some type of insurance. It's like a different type of insurance where you pay like a monthly fee, and you can basically feel like in a accident or something, like they'll have a helicopter or plane to take you wherever. It's weird. Still like in the healthcare stuff. Anyway, so she does presentations for companies in different places around the U.S. And so she told me, she's like, hey, if you just give me your information, I'll just like put a sheet down, give me all the info that you need for them, and I'll just tell them like, hey, if you're looking also looking for any life insurance, like whether it's whole term, I have a really good agent here that does great work and has taken care of me and my husband on all this, and she just leaves it there, and she gets the sheet and she types it into a document and emails it to me, and I'll have like she sent me about 50 to 60, and I've been working those as well, and so yeah,
That's crazy.
and
So how do you go
and
about
she
like having that conversation with like a referral partner? Because that's never something that I had, so that's like really cool to tap into.
my wife actually brought it up, and she said, "Hey, you should talk to Nikki." She said if you need any help as far as like getting your info out there to, because she goes to pretty much the states that I mean, she was in Pennsylvania, she was in Connecticut, like she was up in the Northeast area. So I was like, yeah, I'm licensed there, here. So she just kind of keeps a memo of that, and so that's kind of how it just snowballed into those leads that she's getting me. And so I would, she'd send it to me, I'll dial them up, and she would make sure be expecting like the number to be expected would be pretty much my business number that I have because Kixie obviously would call from different numbers. So
Yeah.
I just call from my business line,
Yeah.
and yeah, and they don't pick up on the first or two tries, but I call in the afternoon. They typically pick up and like, oh yeah, yeah, I was there at the SkyMed conference and blah blah blah, and so it just snowballs into that. And a lot of them are between ages of they're like 45 to like 65 to 45 to like 65. So I'm
Okay.
kind of in that sweet spot. Someone will get like a plain whole life, and majority of them are final expense.
Yeah.
So
Okay. Interesting. Well, I wanna touch on this and you to tell this story. So you're calling leads, right? Generated from Facebook, and you close an $18,000 deal. How'd that come about?
it was an accident on their part. So they were just kind of they saw an ad because they're like him and his wife are looking for they're in their 50s or late 40s, early 50s. They're scrolling, they're on Facebook, they see ads, they see like they've been seeing IULs, and I guess he actually clicked on mine that was a final expense. And then I guess he realized at the end, at the notes, he's like, I was looking for something else. I wasn't looking for final expense. Anyways, called him, And he's like, "Oh no, sorry, that was a mistake. I was looking for an IUL policy for me and my wife to put on a policy on each other." I was like, "Oh, I can help you with that too." He's like, "Really?" I was like, "Yeah, we can definitely set you up on an appointment and get you taken care of on that." And I went down to explaining the IUL and how we set it up, and basically maximum cash value, low death benefit. He was like, I'm not trying to get you one. I'm not trying to get over one on you. A lot of these agents write massive death benefit for their pocket, and me, I'm just want to help them create that, that cash value. So,
Yeah.
it ended up paying out well because they had money. They were like, oh, I was like, how much were you looking to put into? They're like, each of us, 1,500 a month. I was like, okay. I was like, wow. So
Yeah.
he
That's
put,
pretty
yeah,
big, dude.
1,500 a month. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's how I scored that, just by sheer luck that they made a mistake scrolling through. He's like, bro, I'm half blind. I don't even know half the stuff I'm clicking on. And he
Yeah.
wasn't even going to buy anything. He's like, hey, when we set the appointment, he's like, hey, I'm not going to buy anything today. Just do your spiel and let's see how we go about this. And of course, he ended up buying it at the end because he saw the illustration, how much it makes sense, and how it could benefit for not only himself but his wife and also his children at the end of it. So yeah, that's how
Nice,
I
dude.
lucked out on that.
There you
Mhm.
go. So before we get into Q&A, because I want you guys to be able to ask like questions to Matt as well. Um, what what would your advice be to like somebody brand new starting out? Um, like what would your advice be to them? Like people who
Uh,
just joined or people who haven't like gained the traction that they want.
Dive in, you know, dive in into the school stuff, go through uh, each module that you have, and just really dig deep into it and take all the value you get from that and apply it to whether it's the script or the tonality or going over the ejections. So really, it's the constant repetitions.
Hmm.
Constantly, practicing, knowing the scripts, and going over the ejections, and getting on those calls with you guys, and basically, I would say just have that attitude of never trample your white flag.
What's that mean?
White flag is when you give up, you surrender.
Oh, okay.
Trample it. Yeah.
I
So
see.
trample your white flag. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Never give up. Just keep
Okay.
pushing through. There are days, I mean, there's days where rough dialing days, like no one answers, no prezos, no nothing. A bunch of hangups and a bunch of cuss outs. You just, oh yeah, get you down, but you're gonna have those days. So you just
Yeah.
can't let that overcome, let that negativity like that overcome, the positive outlook of it all, of what the bigger picture is, and that's helping people and making great money for yourself.
How do you keep going? Because I know that like it's I would say it's easier when you're making money. You're obviously making money in your other business. You start making money here. Like how do you stay disciplined or continue going? Because I think it's easy and I've seen people like just they make money and it's like, all right, cool, now I can chill. But like
Yeah,
one of the most consistent guys that like I've met. And so like how do you keep up that consistency even when you don't have to?
man. I was actually, I guess I kind of like fell off a little bit because of the hurricane stuff, because I had to deal with a bunch of
Oh yeah.
nonsense from here at my office and here at the house. So
Because you're in
that kind of
Florida,
like got me
right?
down. So I was still dialing, but it was just kind of like, I was like, I'll just dial a few. If they don't answer, whatever. I got other things to take care of. So I kind of like, I wasn't discouraged, but I just had other things to do. But then I was like, I got to get back on these stuff. I was like, I just spent several thousands of dollars on getting repairs and things like that.
Dang.
So I was like, well, got to make some money, and got to recoup all that. And so just I was like, okay, game on. Put your game face on, put your jersey on, get in the game, and yeah, you just that's it's just like not letting myself down, not letting my wife down, and just really achieving the goals that I set out for myself, and make it happen. And it's just having that discipline and the wherewithal to push through even on the tough days and tough situations that you deal with. You just got to keep persevering through and be consistent, and and don't give up on dialing, or even don't give up on old leads from like 2 months ago. Like I saw a YouTube video you had with one guy. He said he never gives up on a lead, and I called a lead that was like 2 months ago and ended up selling them a pretty decent policy. So that's another thing too. Don't give up on your leads. They'll pick up at
Yeah.
some point.
Yeah. 100%. So I wanted to open up to you guys. If you guys have any questions, want you guys to feel free to ask because I think it's one thing to like invest into a program, right? But it's another thing to like actually get results from it. And so I think a lot of it comes down to mindset, the actions, and how you actually utilize what you're given, right? Because you've come on, you've been on the calls, especially when you just got started, right? You're on every single call. You're the first one to ask about role playing. You're getting hammered. Max drilled you. You had thick skin about it. You got better. And then all of a sudden, like a week, 2 weeks later, we're going through objections and you're just hammering them. And I was like, dang, this guy is actually taking a lot of action. So, yeah, what questions you guys have?